This is why power structures will kill you for asking questions. Socrates was an ancient Greek philosopher who laid the foundation for much of Western philosophy today. He is famous for the Socratic method, a form of dialogue in which he asked probing questions to stimulate critical thinking and expose contradictions in others' beliefs. He was sentenced to death by the Athenian court on the charges of corrupting the youth of Athens by encouraging them to question authority and traditional beliefs, and impiety or disrespect for the gods recognized by the state. He was an intelligent and influential figure who was killed by the power structures of his age for asking questions. But why? Questions are an expression of curiosity, and curiosity by its very nature is open, honest, and vulnerable. What's so threatening about that? A person who is open is willing to listen and consider new information and perspectives. Such a person is honest about their own ignorance, neither assuming nor pretending to understand something they don't. They're being vulnerable through their willingness to be influenced by others. So genuine curiosity might seem like weakness, because openness, honesty, and vulnerability have oftentimes been regarded as weak by human cultures throughout our history. But you must understand that this is one of the biggest cons that authoritarian power structures have ever pulled, to convince you that those qualities make you weak. If that were true, they would have no need to kill someone over it. A person who goes through their life being curious about everything is going to come to know the world intimately, to know people intimately, to know themselves intimately, and that kind of knowledge makes them powerful. It will make them bigger, better, faster, stronger at everything. It will dramatically increase their odds of success at anything they set out to do. Are these not the fruits of true power? Such a person may even become self-governing, individuated from societal power structures with no need to be controlled by an external authority. They will become very strong, free agents capable of thinking and acting for themselves, and thus they will become immune to external manipulation and control. From the perspective of an authoritarian power structure whose entire purpose is to control the population, such a person may come to be perceived as a threat, especially if their influence is helping others to individuate in the same way. The open and continual expression of genuine curiosity will make you powerful beyond measure. It is inevitable. So what better way to squash curiosity and open-mindedness than to paint the picture that these qualities are weak? Many have been tricked into giving up their true power, believing instead that it comes from social status. It's all about the status. It's all about perception. It's all about looking good. Status is power. That is the lie that has been fostered and used to enslave weak minds for centuries. So rather than playing the learning game, most have been playing the status game. But none of these people are genuinely powerful, because status only operates within a social hierarchy. It's not a kind of absolute power that stands outside of the system. It is only powerful relative to the standing of others, because it is dependent on the social hierarchy. Thus, the people who subscribe to this kind of power will always be subject to the forces of the authorities at the top, who can control and direct the entire structure as they see fit. Perhaps if breaking free from these power structures were the only benefit of curiosity, it would not be perceived as a threat. However, those who have individuated from these power structures also have the power to dismantle them, because those systems operate on the principle of consensus reality. The perception of reality is monopolized by those at the top and disseminated down through the structure. Yet questions have the ability to penetrate through such projected reality all the way to the truth, and in that process, any lies and deceit are exposed. Now, if a power structure were operating in total integrity and alignment with truth and reality, such questions would pose no threat. However, the more a structure is built upon a foundation of lies and deceit, the more threatened it will be by the questions which will surface those lies and thus erode its very foundation. When people rely on lies and deception to manipulate and control others, that is a kind of false power. It's a power that is predicated on the unreal. It's a power that only operates if everyone buys into the consensus reality that is projected. And the further that projection strays from reality, the more threatening the truth will be to it. Asking questions actually brings us closer to reality through truth. Therefore, it eliminates and exposes the places where people are attempting to exploit the ignorance of others. In other words, it dispels ignorance. It makes us less ignorant. That's why it makes us more powerful. Power built on a foundation of lies is fickle, fleeting, and easily threatened, even by the curious mind of a child. The more corrupt a power structure is, the more it is predicated on ignorance. And for the people who are exploiting that ignorance in order to control others, exposure to the light of reason ruins their game. It dissolves the very ground on which they stand. This is why Socrates was killed for refusing to stop asking questions. He was killed because he was a threat to the power structures of his day. But he was only a threat because the system had something to hide. It was operating out of integrity. It was corrupt. In the context of a culture that really valued the things they claimed, such a man would have been celebrated, not eliminated. So, in the spirit of Socrates, I leave you with the following questions. Are corrupt power structures a thing of the past, or do they still exist today? Are all power structures corrupt, or can they also be benevolent? Assuming a benevolent power structure might exist, how could you tell it apart from a corrupt one? Have you ever been harmed by the truth? Is curiosity worth dying for?